Good evening, guys. I'm Dilip, training head for FACE. I welcome you all on behalf of FACE Prep for this webinar on preparation tips to crack Infosys Pool Campus Placement exclusively for 2018 passed outs. The current recruitment scenario for the batch of 2014 and 2018 was not very healthy as expected. We saw couple of companies did not even turn up for recruitments. We saw numbers of major mass recruiters dropping compared to the previous year. As an industry, we are facing two major problems. While introspecting, the issues are number of offers by the mass recruiters were also dropping. That is, if in the year 2016 to 2018, if the numbers were in 3 digits, now it has become 2 digits. If it was 2 digits, now it has become 1 digit. The recruiters' expectation have also gone really up by few notches. The current expectations by a recruiter is that the student got to be industry ready. That is, they should be directly deployable for any projects. So they have started to include coding rounds in the assessments for the first few rounds. Like, for example, CTS, Capgemini, TCS and Wipro, we had different technical rounds which were added. For example, for CTS, Hacker Rank round was added as the second round, where the first round continued to be AMCAT with few theory questions which were asked. Second, for TCS, earlier they were focusing only on quants and logical sections, but now they've actually added 2 sections, that is, one is programming MCQ and as well as 1 coding round. Same in the case of Wipro and Capgemini as well. So let us not be worried about the other companies right now. And the happy news is for all of us about Infosys, they have not changed their pattern. They again continue to stick to their old pattern of sticking to quants, logical and verbal. They are sticking to their old pattern without even asking the technical assessments. Even more happy news is that Infosys have started their off-campus drives from the first week of Feb. And for a lot of us, joining Infosys would have been a big dream. So this is a big golden opportunity by which each one can get into the most renounced and respected service-based industry. So let us leave no stone unturned to get an offer from Infosys. I'm sure many of you would have attended a lot of drives and maybe the result would have been positive or even negative. Now, more than the result, let us all start feeling contented about the efforts that we are going to put in. I'm pretty sure after you come out of a drive, you feel that, oh my God, I should have put in more effort. But this preparation for Infosys, let us never feel that. Let us start thinking about how to put the efforts in the right direction, and this is where we are here for. Let us forget about all the past failures and consider them as only experiences which will help us to succeed. Now, few FAQs which are generally asked during the Infosys drives, or probably few general FAQs which a lot of students have in mind is, these are the 2 things, and this we have taken from the Infosys website only. So they should have 60% and above all in all the academic courses from 10th standard onwards. In case you have done both 12th and equivalent diploma, you should have secured minimum 60% aggregate. So this is general things which you can even find it in the FAQ, and we have also posted in our app about the details of registration for the Infosys drive. Now let us get into the rounds. So as you guys are very clear on, 2 rounds, that is aptitude and interview. So aptitude, these are the 3 sections which Infosys continuously ask, and in total we have 65 questions and you are expected to complete in 95 minutes. And this is divided into 3 sections, as I told you: arithmetic, reasoning, and analytical thinking, which I would actually put it into logical reasoning. So here 3 varieties of questions are generally asked. One is data interpretation, then data sufficiency, and syllogism type of question. These are the 3 main topics that we are supposed to focus, and you might get 15 questions in this section, 1 mark per question, no negative marking at all, and the time is 25 minutes. Mathematical, the second section is mathematical critical reasoning and logical reasoning. So which means that we have both quants and logical, which means 10 questions are asked in this particular round. Each question again same 1 mark, no negative marking, and 35 minutes in this particular section. Third, verbal aptitude. Again, all the verbal questions would come here, where the weightage is very high, that the number of questions is very high, which is 40, and each question carries 1 mark, no negative marking, again 35 minutes. So this is the overall idea about the sections that you're going to attend in the first round. So let us also get into the concepts in detail. So we have segregated 3 sections into 3 major topics, which will be very helpful for you guys to prepare. So one being quantitative aptitude. So quantitative aptitude, the major topics are time and work, time, speed and distance, profit and loss, mixtures, allegations, permutation and combination, basics. Cryptarithmetic. See guys, there's a small technical issue. We will just catch up in just 1 minute because I think the topics are not visible. We'll just catch up in another 30 seconds to 1 minute. Please catch up. Please stay on the same link. We'll just be there in a minute. Sorry guys, extremely sorry for the inconvenience. So we had a small technical glitch regarding the resolution. Very sorry. Sorry to make you guys wait and on hold. So we were actually discussing about the concepts which we have actually categorized into three different verticals: quantitative aptitude, logical reasoning, and verbal reasoning. And let us try to figure out the important topics as well. So for example, as far as quantitative aptitude is concerned, we have the simple and most repeating topic, which is time and work. We should definitely practice more number of time and work question. Time, speed and distance question, yes, that is again one of the most repeating, not only in Infosys, in all the other aptitude tests. Profit and loss, mixtures and allegations, where you get problems regarding two different solutions which are getting mixed. Then you have permutation combination, where a lot of arrangement questions are asked. Then you have a very peculiar question which is strictly asked in Infosys and also in e-litmus. But cryptarithmetic is a question which you should practice a lot, so that it will be very easy for you to solve. For the first time when you look at this particular question, this will look like a tough question, but when you practice all the types in it, which is, we have close to some 10 to 15 types, and in Infosys they ask addition or subtraction kind of questions. There are even more complex questions which are not asked in Infosys, which is regarding multiplication and things, but here they are only asking addition and subtraction, so which is very easy provided you practice on these questions. So as far as logical reasoning is concerned, number series, I'm very sure this would have been a very interesting and as well as the most familiar topic across all the students. Data sufficiency, so you should definitely have a little bit of basic in the concepts of other topics, so that you'll be able to easily crack data sufficiency. Yes, data arrangement, which is definitely asked in the first section, that is arithmetic reasoning and logical reasoning particular section. So we have syllogism. Some high weightage is also given to syllogism in Infosys, that is, you can definitely expect some 3 to 5 questions in it. So data interpretation, so there will be charts which will be given and 3 to 5 questions will be given. So which means that you have to practice, you'll have to be quick in calculation so that you can easily take up these questions. Yes, so far I think these topics are, whenever I talk about these topics, I'm sure that most of you guys would be little comfortable. But yes, next comes verbal. So verbal, we have 4 major categories, guys. Which is reading comprehension, sentence completion, sentence correction, and critical reasoning. I'm even surprised why we have actually considered critical reasoning and verbal reasoning. The reason being, it is more logical. It is very logical. Once you practice, once you get used to it, it is more logical reasoning question. Nothing to do with verbal. Just that it does not have numbers. So you will have to practice a little bit on critical reasoning, so that it will be easy. So these are the general topics which are actually asked in Infosys. So for the past years, we have seen these topics repeatedly getting asked, and once you guys understand the concepts, try to apply it, practice it, I'm sure that it's going to be easy. So next, we also thought of showing you the platform in which you're going to give your Infosys test. So this is very important as far as any aptitude test is concerned, because there are several assessment partners like we have AMCAT, we have e-litmus, we have Meritrack, we have Touchstone for TCS. So each assessment partner, they have their own features. So you should definitely master it. You should definitely at least know it, so that it's going to be easy for us to take up these questions, right? So I'll just take you through. We have tried to reconstruct the platform based on the knowledge from students who have given their tests. So this is a platform which will be given in the Infosys test. So we have timer which is running. So one thing, I mean, I'm sure that all of you understand this timer, but one important thing here is each section has got its own timing. So for example, first section is 25 minutes, second section is 35, and the next section is also given. So each section has got its own timing, and what happens is you will be able to move to the next section only after the completion of previous section. So which means that the time which is running is your sectional timing. So please make sure that you understand that. So don't get worried or don't get too relaxed by seeing this time. So this is actually your sectional time. Then you have a special feature which is flag, and you would have seen this feature in other assessment platforms as well, like review question, mark as review, and these things. So flag is nothing but if you have doubt, or probably you would want to revisit again the question to check the option, or maybe read the question once again to give it a second try, right? You always have the flag option. So when you click that, you can see that you can, I mean, when you mark it, you can always come back and see that. So then we have summary page, so which gives you a summary about the section. A section summary is definitely given there, right? And you're able, and I'm sure that you're able to also see 5 on 10, 6 on 10, which means that out of the 10 questions, this is the 5th question. So which means that you will be able to scroll it up and down to solve the questions as well. So you have the options which are also given. So this is basically the platform, and you should definitely understand the platform. I will also take you through a couple of insights which are very important to understand this particular platform. That is, you can definitely swap between the question, which means that you have your scroll bar, and if there are 3 questions there, and you have your previous and next tab, so which means that you can swap in the section. So you get into a section, then you can swap question from 1 to 25, 1 to 10, whatever it is, right? But you cannot swap between the sections. For example, if you have completed your first section, which is arithmetic reasoning, after completing it, the timer will close, and you will be you can actually take up the second section, and if you again want to go back to your first, that is actually not possible. So which means that you should know the timing, and before the timing you should be able to check all the questions and then give a submit button so that you can go to the next section. You can never go back to the previous section or the section which is after that. You cannot move to another section until the session timing gets over. As I told you very clearly, whatever is given here is a section timing, so you will not be able to close it, or submit the test before the particular section's time is getting over. And one more thing, you should take the test in order, which means that there are 3 sections, so you should take it in order. The first section is going to be arithmetic reasoning and analytical reasoning. For example, few students would feel that verbal is comfortable for me, so let me go and try the third section. So that is actually not possible. So first section, it is arithmetic reasoning. Second section, it is mathematical critical reasoning, and third is your verbal ability. So you should understand these most important points so that it will be easy for you to toggle between the questions, and which is close to impossible to toggle between the sections. Got it? So now let's so now you have understood the general tips as far as the platform is concerned. Now let's get into how to prepare for this, right? So as I told you very clearly, each assessment partner have different platforms. In the same way, the repetition of question or the repetition of concepts are also completely different. That is, for example, Infosys, the most highlighting questions would be verbal, it is critical reasoning. In logical, it is syllogisms, data arrangement, data interpretation. So in the same way, different companies or different assessment partners have different question types. So now the most important thing is prepare very specific to only Infosys pattern. Stop generic aptitude preparation, because let's not concentrate on all the topics which are given in a book or any aptitude book. Let's not do that. Let us prepare only specific to Infosys, which is definitely going to help you in the last leg. Next, know the topics which have high weightage for the test. For example, if you ask me a question, out of the 15 questions in the first section, that is arithmetic reasoning, now the most important thing is you got to understand there are only 3 varieties of problem. One is data arrangement, second is data interpretation, third is syllogism. If you know these topics and if you practice on these topics, then you will be able to crack or clear that particular section. Yes, of course, I see a lot of comments which the questions are like, is the sectional cutoff there? Yes, sectional cutoff is definitely there. So you got to give a balance to all the three sections. That is, concentrate in all the three sections of the test. That is, which is split among all the three sections which is given. Know how to work in the assessment platform, as we have already seen that for Infosys it is Meritrack. I'm just giving it to as a information, but we have already seen the platform, so that shouldn't be a problem to you guys. Practice most repeated patterns. Yes, do not get distracted with other materials, because this is the time where we can see a lot of people coming up with different sets, asking, okay, did you prepare this? This is the answer key. Let's start memorizing. Please guys, let us stop all these things. We just have some 4 or 5 days to go on, and let's make sure that we put in the right preparation strategy so that we'll be able to crack it. So which means that once again, if I have to take you through, please prepare only to specific questions asked in Infosys. Stop your generic aptitude preparation. Know the topics which have high weightage, as I've clearly told. Concentrate in all the three sections which are important, because few guys would feel that yes, I've done quants and logical well, but verbal I was not able to do it. No, that is not the right strategy. You should put or dedicate your time equally in all the three sections. And assessment platform, it just takes 5 to 10 minutes, but still that is very, very important. Practice on the most repeated questions, right? Which so the question repetition is again to our luck, but the question type would be the same, right? So let us try to practice it very carefully, right? Now let's get into, I thought of solving a couple of questions as well for you guys to understand how Infosys ask questions, right? For example, let's see a question which is asked in Infosys. This is an Infosys question. Radha traveled 120 kilometers in 12 hours. She traveled first on bike at 20 km per hour and then on foot at 5 km per hour. Find the distance which is traveled on bike. Right. So now this is the question, and we have 4 options. So which means that let us try to solve this particular question. So we have 2 different scenarios. One is Radha is traveling on bike. Second is Radha is traveling on foot. Right. So let us try to solve it. Speed of the bike is 20. Speed while walking is 5 km per hour. So if I am going to keep my hours as x, that is hours traveled by bike as x and hours traveled on foot as y, which means that can we actually form a equation, that is the total distance which is given, which is equal to what? Yes, the total distance is taken as, the total distance is 120. So which is 20 into x. So what is this 20? 20 is the speed and time. This is the distance traveled in by bike. What about 5 and y? This is the distance traveled in while walking. So the total distance should be equal to 120. I'm sure that forming equations is going to be easy for you. I'll keep it as equation 1. Second is x plus y equal to 12. So now they have also given us an information, that is the total journey has taken only 12 hours. So which means that x plus y, which is equal to 12 hours. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are familiar with forming equations once you understand this basic relationship. That is, the basic relationship is speed which is equal to distance by time. So here I have equated distance which is already given in the question, as well as the time which is already given in the question. Good. So now it is just about solving equations, which I am pretty sure you guys are easily capable of doing it. So we get the y value to be 8 at the end of it, and substituting the y value in equation 2, which is considered to be an easy equation to calculate. So we get the value of x. So what is x? X is nothing but the hours traveled by bike. So now we have got the value of time, which is time in which we have traveled using bike. So which means that what about the time traveled by walk? Yes, so we can easily find it by that, or now we can also find it distance which is equal to speed into distance. Distance traveled in bike is nothing but, we know the speed is 20 and the hours which is traveled in bike is 4. So now we get the value of distance traveled by in bike, which is 80, and which is what is the question which is asked. Correct, guys? So now we completely understand how to solve this particular question with just equations. Correct. We can also solve it by a different method, which is like a shortcut, right? So always understand that whenever we have two entities, that is, one is by bike and second is by food, then the answer which is given is find the distance she traveled on bike. Let us try to understand always that there are 4 options and one of your option is obviously correct. So let us assume that if the option is going to be 40 kilometers. So what is this 40? This is nothing but the distance traveled by bike. So let us assume I'm just going to divide the screen as bike and walk. So this is nothing but the distance which is traveled. So distance, let us assume that the option is 40 kilometer. If Radha is going to travel in 40 kilometers in bike, what about walk? It is going to be 80 kilometers. So what would be the time? Yes, the total time should be equal to what? 12. Let us figure out if it is 12. If it is 12, then the assumption which is option A is going to be correct, right? So let's check. So we know the distances. So we know speed which is equal to distance by time. So now what we understand is 40 kilometer is the distance that is traveled and we know what is the speed. So let's try to figure out what is time. How do I find time? Time which is equal to distance by speed, right? So distance is 40 kilometer and if you travel on a bike at 20 kilometer per hour, which means that you will be able to cover this in 2 hours. So which means, what about this distance? This is done by walking. So 80 kilometer you're going to walk at a rate of 5 kilometer per hour. So which means that 80 by 5, which is 16 hours, is the time which is taken. So what is this equal to? We get 2 plus 16, which is it equal to 12? No. So which means that the assumed answer is wrong. So let's go for the next option. The next option being 80. Okay, we have just swapped the option. So 80, and here it's going to be, if it is 80, this is going to be 40 because the total distance is 120. Now what happens, guys? It is going to be very simple, where 80 kilometers I'm going to travel in 20 kilometer per hour. So which means that this is going to be covered in 4 hours. What about this? So the rest of 40 kilometers which I'm going to walk at a rate of 5 kilometer, I'm going to cover it in 8 hours. 40 by 5, which is 8 hours. So is this answer giving me a total of 12 hours? Yes. So which means that this is going to be my answer. It takes some time for explanation, but when you calculate, right, this can be solved in just 5 seconds. Got it, guys? So this is an easy way of solving as far as time, speed and distance is concerned, or any equation type is concerned. Okay, so we might get different questions in different sections, like in quants, like profit and loss, mixtures and allegation, permutation. So don't worry, guys. If you understand the concepts behind it and practice couple of Infosys question, this is definitely going to be an easy choice, right? Now let's get into this most hyped topic, which is Cryptarithmetic. Let us try to understand what is that. I don't know if this is the first time if you guys are seeing such a question. That's okay. I'll assume that this is the first time you guys are seeing, and I'll explain it in that way. Cryptarithmetic is nothing but, there are a couple of words which are given here, which is equal to comes minus she. Please do not assume any logical conclusion by this particular words. It is completely illogical, right? What we are supposed to do is find the value of R plus H plus O, which means that all the 4 values, that is H, E, R, E, each alphabet will take a number, right? And we are supposed to find what is the value of R and what is the value of H and also O. If you find this, then you just have to add it. Let's try to figure out with a simple method, right? So let's go for this question. The question is comes minus she, which is equal to here, right? And one important factor here is, as far as Cryptarithmetic is concerned, we should not allocate the same number to 2 different alphabets. So each alphabet should only carry a number, that is repetition is not allowed. So I have always used 1 to 0, and whenever we find the value of one alphabet, we will always try to go and strike, so that we are not using the same number to the alphabet. Got it? So S value is equal to actually 8. So which is actually given in the question. And now both the S's which are given in the question, I'm going to replace, right? So we need not find the value of S. So now we have found the value, that is, we have replaced all S's by 8. Now let us try to understand 8 minus E, which is giving you E. Correct? S minus E, which is equal to E. 8 minus E, which is also equal to A after substituting 8. Now 8 minus what number will give you the same number? 8 minus 2, is it giving 2? No, it gives 6. 8 minus 7, is it giving 7? No, it gives 1. So what is the number which E can take up? It's nothing but 4. This is the only value which can take up, which can be used for E, so that the condition is getting satisfied. So S minus E should give us the value of E. So now I am going to replace all the 4 E's with 4. So the question is getting very, very simple. The reason being, we are trying to find, we have replaced almost some 4 and to 6 alphabets easily, just in one step. Correct? So now we will also cancel. We should not use 4 again. So I am trying to take that off from the options. Now an important factor which you guys have to understand is, we are subtracting 5-digit number. This is where we need to think a little bit logical to solve this question, right? Rather than randomly substituting values and checking it, which is also possible. Maybe it will take some time, but we should logically try to spot the clue which is given here. The clue is 5-digit number is subtracted with a 3-digit number and you get a 4-digit number. Now let us think aloud and try to figure out what are the possibilities, right? Let us take, you can take 99,000, any value. Let us take some random value, 11,000 minus 987. It gives you a value which is 10,013. So which means that, is this value a 4-digit number? Because this is a 5-digit number. According to the statement, this is a 3-digit number, which is also in sync with the statement, but this should have been a 4-digit number, but here it is a 5-digit number. So my number cannot be beyond 11,000. Correct? So for example, we will take one more chance. We will take a chance, that is 10654, 10,654 minus 987 gives us 9667. You can take any random value, guys. So I'm just also taking some random value. So when you take this condition is getting satisfied. So which means that you can subtract a number, 5-digit number, subtract a 3-digit number from 5-digit number, and you get a 4-digit number. Then obviously the number should start from 10,000. It should not be 11,000 and above. So obviously it has to be 10,000. So if this has to be 10,000, which means the 5-digit number has to be 10,000. So what will be the value of comes? So it has to be something around 10,000 and something. So what will be the value of C and O? It has to be 1 and 0 for sure, because the number is going to start with 10,000, that is 1 and 0. Now we have understood that it is going to be 10,000 and some number minus a 3-digit number gives us a 4-digit number. Now let us figure out, is there any other clue which is given by the question setter, right? Now interestingly, see, look at this number, that is O minus H, that is O minus, as in there is no value to subtract, gives us a value H, correct? And so 0 minus some number gives you H. So what does that mean? So H got to be what? It has to be 9. Only then this is possible. Correct? This is definitely going to be 9. If this is definitely 9, so now can I replace another H also with 9? Correct? Now we have got the value of, what all the value we have got? We have got the value of H, O, and we are yet to find the value of R, which is given in the question. Correct? So now we know that 4 minus 9 gives you R. Correct. So obviously 4 minus 9 is not possible. It cannot have a negative value. So it has to borrow from the next digit. Usual subtraction. Right. If it is borrowing, so this value will become m minus 1. And what will happen to this value? This will become 14. So 14 minus 9 will obviously give us what? Yes, it is going to give us 5. So what is the value of R? We've got the value of R also, which is 5. Should we go and figure out? Yes, of course, you can go and find what is the value of M. But is it required? Not required. Let's not waste time for this. So R plus H plus O is nothing but 14. That's it, guys. Now we have got the value of 14. Here you can also do the other way around. That is, you can also use, here we have used subtraction. So if you feel that subtraction is a bit difficult compared to addition, so what you can actually do is that even that you can do. For example, you can also, can I write it like here plus she, which is equal to comes, that is also something that you can do. So H E R E plus she, which will give me what? Which will give me comes. So C O M E and S. Correct? Even now we can find the same answer. So that is E plus E, which gives me S. So what is the value of S? S is actually taken as 8. So which means that E plus E, which should be 8. So what is the value of S? So which is going to be nothing but 4. So now we have found the value of 4. In the same way, which we try to use a logic which is C and O, it has to be a 5-digit number. So which means that it should start with 1 0. So you can also try using addition also. You got it? So don't get confused, guys. Both are going to be the same. Right? So now we have seen one variety of cryptarithmetic. Don't worry, guys. The reason is it might look a little bit complicated, but there are only some 10 to 15 varieties of cryptarithmetic problems, which again Infosys is going to only concentrate on addition and subtraction. So when you practice all these 15 questions, which we will definitely be teaching in phase classes, if you practice all these things, then taking up cryptarithmetic, then it's going to be very, very easy. Got it, guys? So this is as far as the most hyped topic. Let's get into the next variety, or probably we'll take a look at what are the different questions which are asked. Analytical reasoning, logical arrangement, that is 0 to 5 question. Permutation combination questions, you might get 1 to 3. Number system, permutation combination and probability, let's stick to very basic question which is regarding simple arrangements or repetition kind of questions. Number system, sequence, series. So basic questions from number system, sequence and series, I'm sure that you guys would have practiced. You can definitely expect one cryptarithmetic from the 15 to 20 types which are available. So if you practice it, it's going to be easy. So profit and loss also you get, or ratios you might get some 2 questions as well. Right. So now let's get into the next section, which is syllogism. See, we should definitely practice a lot of questions in syllogism. As far as syllogism is concerned, there are a couple of methods to solve syllogism, but sorry, there are a couple of methods to solve, but here we are going to solve using Venn diagram, which will help you to solve any difficult problems. Right. So there is another method called tick and cross. Let's not use it. The reason being, in Infosys, the questions will be little bit difficult as far as syllogism is concerned. Out of the 3 questions, 1 can be easy and 2 can be difficult. Right. So let us try to use a method which is going to be useful for all the type of questions. Got it? So now let us try to solve this question. So as far as syllogism is concerned, there are 3 different statements which are given. So these are the statements which are given, right? So these are the statement which are given. 3 statement is given, and combining these 3 statements, we are supposed to come to a conclusion. It can be either 1, 2, 3 or 4, or it can be in any order. So which is something that we have to figure out. So we will have to compare 2 different or 3 different statements, and we will have to figure out a conclusion which should be answered. Correct. So now let's try to solve it. Right. All kings are beggars. So which means that if I'm going to draw a circle, as I told you, it's a Venn diagram method. So if this is going to be kings, so all kings are going to be, let's assume, put up here. All kings are going to be put up here. So all kings are beggars. So which means that let's not connect it to a logical statement. Let's forget about the logic of all kings of beggars. It might be ridiculous, but let's forget about it. All the kings come under the category of beggars. Correct. So what about this? The people who are here. So these are beggars who are not kings. So if you understand this, then it's going to be easy. That's it, guys. Right. So this statement we have drawn in the Venn diagram. Next, all beggars are laborers. So which means that what will we do? We will again draw a circle around beggars. So which means that these are the laborers who are beggars. These are the laborers who are not beggars. Right? Is it clear, guys? Good. If you can see this and listen carefully, you will definitely be able to understand it easily. All laborers are careless. Right? So again, we are going to have a bigger circle with careless at the as the outer circle. Now we have been given some 4 option, out of which we are supposed to select a couple of options. Like A, only 1 and 2 follows, which is 1 first option and the second option follows, or B, it is first and fourth option follows, and C and 4 subsequently. Now let us try to solve this. Right, some careless people are kings. Let's check whether this particular option is going to work out, or is this the conclusion from all the 3 given statements. Right, let's check. So they are only comparing kings and people who are careless. Right, so it is very evident that, as I told you before, right, so there are some kings who are careless. Right, so the entire circle are the people who are careless. So there are some kings who are careless. So which means that the first option is nothing but it might be true. Good. So what about no laborer is king? Right, no laborer is king. So from the previous statement, let's see. Let's take out all the other things. Let's only take the laborer and kings. Got it? So now no laborer is king. Is it true? Is the second statement is the second statement a conclusion for the 3 statements? Let's figure out. Right, no laborer is a king, but there are laborers who are kings. Correct. The circle, this circle contains the kings who are actually laborers also. So which means that we cannot say no laborer is king. So that's wrong, and that cannot be taken as a conclusion. Now let's get into the previous circle. All kings are laborers. Right, so this is the option that we are going to see now. All kings are laborers. Right, now is it true? All kings are laborers. Yes, this is going to be true, because you can see that all the kings who are put up here are definitely laborers. So obviously my third statement is also correct. Third conclusion is also correct. All laborers are kings is going to be my fourth conclusion. Let's figure out whether this works out or not. Right, but if you look at the option itself, it is very clear that option D is going to be the answer, because 1 and 3 only option D is there. But we'll also nevertheless check. All laborers are kings. Is it true? There are laborers who are sitting here who are not kings. So which means that this statement is also wrong. So the only option is going to be D. So this is as far as syllogisms is concerned. That is, you will have 3 to 4 statements, and you will have conclusions to define. You will have to work or use a method called Venn diagram, which will anyway be teaching in the phase classes. If you practice those questions, if you practice drawing Venn diagrams, you will be able to solve Venn diagrams in just 30 seconds, guys. That's it. For a question, all that you got to spend is 30 seconds. This is an easy question, and provided you understand the concept of Venn diagrams. So next, let us get into the topic of data sufficiency. For the people who are seeing the data sufficiency question for the first time, I'll just take you through the question, right? Is the product of x and y greater than 80? So now there is a question which is asked, and what is the answer for this question? Yes, so the answer for the question is going to be yes or no. Is the product of x and y greater than 80? The answer can be either yes or no. Can we have yes and no? We cannot have. So we should be able to give only one answer. And how do we give the answer? By two statements which they have given, right? One is the sum of x and y is greater than 80. The second statement is each of the variable is greater than 2. Now let us read the options. Generally, all the data sufficiency question or most of the pattern would be the same. So you will go with the first option if the question can be answered using statement A alone. So if you can solve a question and you can get an answer whether it is yes or no, then your answer is going to be A. If the question can be answered using statement 2 alone, so we should not consider statement 1, we should only consider data which is given in statement 2, and if we can get the answer, then which means that we'll go with the option B. What about C? If the question can be answered by using either of the statement alone, which means that use statement 1, still you get a value of yes or no, use statement 2, again you get a value of yes or no, then which means that with C is the option which can be used as in which can be answered by using either of the statement alone. And D is when you combine the information which is given in both the statement. When you combine the information which is given in both the statement, and then if you are able to derive at an answer, then you will go with 4. That is option D. What about fifth option? Even after combining both the information and the information given in the question also, if you are not able to come up with an answer which is yes or no, then obviously the answer is 5. Right? Let us try to solve this question. So x into y, which should be greater than 80. So now let us use only statement 1. Right? The sum of x and y is greater than 80. Is the statement. So which means that I can take any value of x and y, but the only condition is it should be greater than, the sum should be greater than 80. Correct? So I can take 1 and 80, it gives 81, which is greater than 80. 2 and 80, it gives 81. So 1 into 80, is it giving us a value which is greater than 80? No. So this cannot be taken. So 2 into 80 is greater than 80. Correct? So because we have assumed the statement 1, and in statement 1 itself we have two contradictory answer. First assumption gives us a value that is answer is no. Second assumption gives us a value where the answer is yes. So because of this it is not possible. So it should be either yes or no. But here we get both the values. Now we'll go for the second statement alone. So forget about the statement 1. So this is where a lot of students make mistake. Please understand, do not take any information from statement 1 when you go to statement 2 alone. This is like a flow chart. First check statement 1 alone. Second, if it is not working, go for statement 2 alone. Let's figure out what is happening. So x should be greater than 2, y should be greater than 2. So let us take some value 3 and 4. Is it greater than 80? No. 4 into 40, is it greater than, sorry. Yeah, so 4 into 40, is it greater than 80? Yes. Here again, one assumption is correct and the second assumption is wrong. Still, it is giving us the same kind of answer like the first statement alone. Now what will we do? So option C, which is either statement 1 or statement 2, is also ruled out. Now let's go for option 4, which is using both. when you combine both, that is combine the information, that is when you take the value of x and y, the sum should definitely be equal to 80. I'll take a sample example. 3 plus 78, which is greater than 80. I'm sorry. Now, in the same way, we will also take the information from statement 2, that is each of the variable is greater than 2. That is 3 into 78, is it greater than 80? Yes. So, which means that by combining these two, and if my value or the values of x and y which we have assumed is taking up both the statements, that is correct as far as the both statements are concerned, then we can actually go for option D. Now here the answer is option D. Now let us try to understand, guys, data sufficiency. Important part is, first part is you will have to understand the options which are given. Not in all the exams you get 5 options and the options are in the same order. So you should obviously understand the option and try to answer according to the option, right? The option types are going to be like this, but maybe it might be only the C option might not be there, right? Which is by both statement 1 alone and 2 alone, right? It might not be there. There might be only 4 options. So it depends from exam to exam. So please make sure that you check that first, right? Do not have a habit of directly taking and putting it in the answer option. Got it? So if you have a little knowledge in all the in general topics for quants and logical, I'm pretty sure you will be able to crack it. Here also we should practice a lot and use some specific strategies which can definitely help you. Got it? So this is a section where you got to be, this is little bit tricky, provided if you don't take up all the varieties of question, right? So you should definitely put in efforts, put in thoughts, and try to move away from all the trap which is set, right? If that is the case, then we will be able to crack your data sufficiency question, type of question. Now let's get into the summary of reasoning section. So as I told you, data interpretation is for sure. You will have a chart, you will have a or a bar graph, and from there you should be able to calculate, right? Now next, data sufficiency. 3 to 5 questions are definitely expected. Data arrangement 0 to 3, that is you can get a couple of questions as well. Syllogisms 2 to 3 questions as we have discussed. Directions, blood relationship, number and alphabet. You might get couple of questions in puzzle. In the recent past we did not find any of the puzzles, but we thought we can just check. Probably we'll practice a bit of puzzles as well. Now let's get into the verbal ability sections, right? So if I had known, that is this question is particular to sentence correction. If I had known this yesterday, I will have helped him, right? So we are supposed to find error in this particular statement, right? That is, if you select option A, which means that the error is going to be in the first part of the statement which is given, right? This is going to be the first part. If the error is in B, the answer option is going to be B. If the error is going to be in the second part of the statement, I will have helped him, which means that this is the third part, which is C, right? If you find any error here, then our answer is going to be C. And if you don't find any error, which means that your answer is going to be no error only. Got it? So how do we solve this question? Here, something which you have to understand is, this particular topic has some 8 type of error, guys. 8 type of errors, and that's all that you are going to prepare. If you prepare, understand and practice these 8 type of errors, then sentence correction is definitely going to be an easy question. That is, it will be like a logical topic. Apply the formula, you will get the answer, right? So sentence correction is of that particular weightage in as a very high weightage in Infosys, as well as it is going to be pretty easy. So here let's try to solve. Now let us try to understand, if I had known, so which means that this is in past tense, this yesterday, this is also in past tense, I will have helped him. So this is in future tense, exactly in future perfect tense, right? Now there is a specific rule, that is, this is from the error called verb time sequence error. Verb time sequence error, where the entire sentence that we write should be in the same tense, right? So which means that here we can see the first part of the sentence in past tense, second part is also in past tense, but you can see here it is in future. So obviously the error is in part C, that is option C. It should have been, if I had known this yesterday, I would have helped him. Will, the past tense is would. That's it, guys. If you know this, then this is going to be pretty easy. Got it? Now, so as I told you, there are 8 types of errors, and one of the errors is verb time sequence. There are other errors like parallelism. Then we have a couple of other errors as well. So if you know that, then this part is definitely going to be easy. So as I told you, do not worry about verbal questions, right? It is just about picking the right, practicing it properly, then it's going to be easy for you. Got it, guys? Yes. So now next question is going to be on critical reasoning, right? I've seen lot of students running away from this topic. The only reason being, it includes certain words which are written in English. That's it, guys. If you understand this properly, if you can plot a proper reason to it, or probably proper plot to it, I'm very sure you will be able to crack this. For example, let us go through this particular question. And as far as critical reasoning question is concerned, there are 3 important topics. One being, we can talk about the premise. Premise is the statement which is given in the question. Premise are nothing but statement which is given in the question, like the recent research indicates that increased consumption. All these comes under premise. Then we have something called as conclusion. So whatever is getting concluded after the premise is given, so that is nothing but your conclusion. Then the third important terminology is assumption. So which means that your premise with some assumption gives us conclusion. That's it, guys. Simple basic meaning of all the 3 terminologies. The question variety can be, the question varieties can be, the questions can be, which of the following is strengthening your argument? Maybe. Second, it can be weakening your argument, or they would ask you the conclusion, right? So these are the different varieties of question which you can actually expect in critical reasoning, right? So when you practice these questions, it's going to be easy. Let us try to solve this particular question. This is also a TCS question, Infosys question. Recent research indicates that increased consumption of fruits and vegetables by middle-aged people reduces stroke in later years. The research speculates that this may be because of fruits and vegetables are rich in folic acid. Low levels of folic acid are associated with high levels of homocysteine, an amino acid that contributes to blocked arteries. So this is the particular premise which is given to us, and let us see what is the question. Which one of the following statement is most strongly supported by information above? So they are asking for a statement which is strengthening the premise, right? Let us try to understand this again very carefully, right? Which is the only part where we have to be very careful is increased consumption of fruits and vegetables, and because of which fruits and vegetables are rich in folic acid. Low levels of folic acid are associated with high levels of homocysteine, because of which it contributes to heart attack or blocked arteries. Correct? Yes. So let us try to have a strong conclusion here. Given cases, low levels of folic acid, which means high levels of homocysteine, which means the result is going to be contributes to blocked arteries, which means that the probability of getting a heart attack is more. Correct? Now, this is what is given in the question. Now let us assume that if you are going to take a interpreted data here so that it is going to be easy for us to solve. That is, the first given case is low level of folic acid. What will happen if it is high level of folic acid? Simple, the amino acid will be very less. So which means that it is nothing but the heart attack chances will be also very less. Right? These are the two cases which you guys have to understand from the given particular premise. So which means that now let us take the options. An increased risk of stroke is correlated with low levels of homocysteine. Is it correct? Is it not contradictory? Increased risk of stroke, which means that they are talking about this particular case and they correlate with low levels of homocysteine. Is it correct? No. If it is increased, then this should also be at high level. So option A is ruled out. Now what about option B? Decreased risk of stroke. So which means that we are talking about the interpreted case. Decreased risk of stroke is correlated with high level of folic acid. That's correct. Previous statement had a comparison between heart attack and amino acid. Here it is stroke and folic acid. So here it is decreased risk of stroke is correlated to high level of folic acid. This seems to be correct, but nevertheless we'll check the other options as well. An increased propensity for blocked arteries is correlated with decreased level of, so increased, so which means that they're talking about increased value. So this is again correlated to decreased level of homo. So this is also wrong. So option C is also, because it is connected to high level, so this option is also ruled out. What about D? A decreased propensity of blocked. So here they are talking about the interpreted case for blocked arteries is correlated with low level of folic acid, but actual is high level. So this is also not correct. So the only option is B. That's it, guys. If you can properly take an abstract of a particular premise and try to get the value, try to get your answer option correct, check all the options and figure out if there is any we should definitely go for eliminating option rather than choosing an option, right? So we'll have to figure out why this particular option is correct. So if you understand that, then you will try to correlate with your premise and then take up this, right? So which means that this is a sample of critical reasoning question which can be asked in critical as in the verbal section of the question. So now let's get into another last variety of question, which is going to be sentence completion, right? This is also one important variety, guys, and this is a question from Infosys, right? So this is a little bit tricky, but I would say it is again a reasoning kind of question, right? The reason being, let us read the question. If the Titanic had hit the iceberg head on, its watertight compartments might have saved it. So this is a gap that we have to fill from, but it's were to avoid the iceberg, and in the collision so many compartments were open to the sea that disaster was dash. So this is the question which is given, right? So generally in sentence completion we have two important signpost word. One is contrast signpost word, second is supportive signpost word. So contrast is the first statement speaks about a positive thing or a negative thing. After the signpost word, which is but or although or though or despite, it will start speaking something which is completely in contrast to the first statement, right? So that is nothing but, here we have given you a particular way of understanding it. That is, if your value, as in if your first statement is negative, after but or after any contrast sign post word, it has to be positive. If it is positive, this has to be negative. So this is nothing but contrast signpost word. For example, supportive signpost word. So this is nothing but, if your statement is beginning with a negative tone, so after and, which is your supportive signpost word, it should also be a negative tone. Correct, right? He was dancing and singing, right? We cannot take a contrast to this particular, we cannot take an example which is singing, which is in contrast to dancing. So it should be negative and negative, or positive and positive, right? So let us see this particular, let us try to search for the signpost word. It is but and. We have got this particular two signpost word, but here it is very peculiar that there is a first statement and there is a but, and they are talking about the second statement, which is completely in contrast with the first statement. Correct? So but is a keyword which we will not use it here, because we are looking for two answer options. Correct? So this statement, first part of the sentence followed by but, and it should be a statement, so which is already given here. So our answer option is not here. So we are going to eliminate this but, and we are going to take up and in the collision, so many compartments were open to the sea that disaster was. So which means that here, rather than contrast signpost word, we are going to use supportive signpost word. Now another important thing here is the entire tone of the particular passage. Isn't it not little bit negative? That is, Titanic ship is hitting in the iceberg and the watertight compartments might have saved it. So which means that we are talking about things which are negative. So obviously the gaps which we have to fill should also be negative, right? So now let us try to choose two different, let's choose the options, right? Option A, foundering and inevitable. Let us assume that we don't know the meaning of foundering. That's okay, guys. That's still okay. Let us assume that we don't know the meaning of foundering, right? If that is the case, go for the next option and let us figure out what is happening. So we are talking about sinking, right? We are talking about sinking, but here and escaped, correct? Sinking and escaped. Here, let us try to figure out or understand the last part of the statement has to be also negative. It cannot say that so many compartments were open to the sea that the disaster was escaped. Here, escaped is a positive tone. That is, no big damage is what they are trying to mean. So we cannot use escape here. So that becomes a positive tone. So if we cannot use escape, we cannot also use sinking. Now in the similar way, option C, damage and limited. In the same case, limited. So and in the collision, so many compartments were open to the sea that disaster was limited. So here again, limited brings a positive sense rather than a negative sense. So here also we cannot use C as a option. See guys, please try to understand. A word should be matched to this particular context to understand whether it is negative or positive. Negative is a ship is sinking, the watertight compartments are into complete collisions, and because of which there is some disaster. So here the words that should be used as negative should be in sync to the particular question, right? So this cannot also be an option. Now D, buoyancy. Yeah, I understand a lot of people would not have understood. I can see a couple of guys giving me an answer C. The reason is buoyancy is a term I'm sure you would have prepared during your 10th or 12th standard regarding buoyant force. It talks about floating. But here, because the iceberg, that is Titanic, had hit the iceberg head on, I'm sorry, it cannot float, right? After this, water is going to come in and it cannot float, and because of which option D is also not considered. Hope you guys understand this. Now we have the last statement, that is collapse averted. Here I want you guys to guess whether averted is a negative part of the word, part of the sentence, or a positive. Averted is the accident was averted. So which means that it is a positive thing, right? So this cannot also be my answer. So my answer has to be foundering and inevitable. See guys, let us again clearly understand, without any grammar, we can easily solve it with few rules like signpost rule. There are a couple of other rules also which you guys have to understand, but with a simple rule like this, we can easily eliminate the options, even without understanding what is the meaning of foundering. Foundering is nothing but water gets into it and it is sinking. So that is what is given. Option B cannot be the answer. Sinking, don't look at only one part of the gap, also look at the second part of the gap, which is escaped. Escaped is a positive sense, and that's why we are not using sinking. Got it? So this is how we are supposed to solve sentence completion, right? Yes guys, there are a lot of tricks as far as verbal topics are concerned. This is one such. We have others as well, which will handle it in the classes, right? As far as verbal ability is concerned, reading comprehension, you can get 2 to 3 passages. So close to 10 to 15 questions. So which means that it is not required that you're supposed to answer every question as far as reading comprehension is concerned. You can only take the referential question, which are going to be pretty easy. Just take the value, just take the sentence, try to understand the meaning and try to eliminate option. It will be very easy for you, right? So reading comprehension, most of the students, they make a mistake, which is they try to answer the entire set of questions, right? Let's not do that. Sentence correction, as I told you, there are simple 8 rules. If you can practice that, sentence correction is more like a topic which is like speed and distance or time and work. Apply the formula, you will get it. Apply the rule, you will get it. Vocabulary and synonym, maybe it can be asked, but we have just given you. Sentence completion, critical reasoning and para jumbles as well, right? So now we have gone through the entire pattern of Infosys, right? And let's take a look at the strategy that you can use in each section, right? Arithmetic reasoning and analytical reasoning, 15 questions in 25 minutes, which means that 2.3 minutes per question. And here you don't have a calculator. In couple of companies, they give calculator or you're allowed to take calculator. Here, no calculator at all. So data interpretation question, lot of data but easy solutions. If you know calculations, it is going to be easy. Target data interpretation questions. 30% of questions are going to be data interpretation question. There is no doubt there. Then next is going to be syllogism questions. So there are set of rules which you have to learn, which probably I've shown a sample there. If you know that, then it's going to be again easy way of solving this. Then the expected cutoff can be 60 to 70%, but it all depends on the campus that Infosys is in, right? So it all depends, but still the expected cutoff can be 60 to 70%. Now, which means that you just have to target 8 questions. So the time has gone up for each question from 2.3 minutes to 3 minutes, right? Mathematical critical reasoning and logical reasoning, 10 questions. 35 minutes, you have 3.5 minutes per question, which means that it will be slightly difficult, but do not worry. Focus on the topics which we have told you and the shortcuts which we can practice. You will definitely be able to take up this particular section as well. So here is when they're also when using the data arrangement question, because it comes in logical reasoning. Easy question. It takes some time, but don't worry, if you solve one data arrangement question, you can easily solve 3 questions, which means that each data arrangement might have 2 to 3 questions, right? So if you solve a question, so 2 to 3 questions, you will have to solve it in let's assume the given time is 7 minutes to solve 2 questions. Correct, right? Each question is 3.5. So 7 minutes to solve 2 questions, which means that you can spend close to 5 minutes in a data arrangement question. But the most important thing is, please make sure that you get it right. Otherwise, you have wasted the entire 7 minutes, right? Attend cryptarithmetic question if the value of some letter is given. That is, here the example is s is equal to 8, right? So as I told you, there are different patterns. So it is always advisable to take this particular pattern where one value is given and you are able to easily take up the question. If you take that up, then solving it is also going to take some time, but don't worry, we can practice and we can get it right. Verbal ability, each question 1.15 minutes per question, which means that, as I told you, sentence correction, it is just application of simple errors. Sentence completion, certain keywords are given like signpost word, and there are other strategies. If you use that, we will be able to crack it, right? As I told you, few tricks, 20-25%, 25 to 30% is going to be reading comprehension question. Expected cutoff, it can be 50 to 60% of questions, right? So this is as far as the 3 sections are concerned. So I think in an hour and a half hour of webinar, this is all that we were able to tell you, right? I'm sure we could have shared valuable, I'm sure we had shared valuable insights and overall analysis on Infosys pattern. Correct, right? Each company have their own pattern, as I told you, and the repetition rate. As far as TCS is concerned, the repetition rate is close to 60 to 70%. If you can practice with the proper materials, right? Even in the recent drives which happened, I think yesterday there was a drive and we had conducted a marathon for that as well. There were students who were preparing with us, close to some 300 to 400 students who were preparing with us. We had given them the complete support, and they told us most of the questions repeated, and couple of them also told us the questions did not repeat like others, but the concept which we taught them was very helpful for them is what others told us, right? So, but as far as Infosys is concerned, repetition would be very, very less repetition of question, but do not worry guys, as I told you, the pattern of questions are going to be the same. For example, cryptarithmetic questions, if you practice all the types of questions which are given, then you will be able to easily solve it, right? And the sentence correction, as I told you, there are 8 types of error. If you can understand, practice, then it's going to be easy. Likewise, all the topics generally have these type of tricks and shortcuts which will be very, very helpful while solving the Infosys questions. So do not worry about repetition. The pattern will definitely repeat. You don't have to worry at all, right? So because I mean, after all the registration which happened for this particular YouTube channel, I mean YouTube live, we also got some requests from other students that they want some classes to crack Infosys, right? They're not done with this particular paper or model, so they wanted some classes. So for their benefit, what we thought is we will introduce 2 days class, 3rd and 4th Feb, which will be run like a marathon, right? And here the marathon highlights are all major quants topic concepts will definitely be taught in the class. Concepts in logical, which are frequently asked, will also be taught. Verbal, as I told you, 4 different questions which will definitely be taught with basics and question types. Latest Infosys question, that is, as I told you, you should definitely get the right materials, right? If you get the right materials, then practice on the patterns by understanding the concepts, then it's going to be easy. Personal interview orientation will also be given, which is very specific to Infosys, right? Each company have their own ways and means of hiring people, right? Study materials will also be given for practice, which will have Infosys actual questions also. And this class is going to be from 9 o'clock to evening 9 o'clock. That is 20 hours of content will be delivered in this 2 sessions. So you can completely take up these 2 days and dedicate yourself for Infosys. all your doubts will be clarified by our experts during these 2 days, and till the exam you will definitely get the help from them. Every class will be handled by FACE experts who have trained more than 1 lakh students. And we also thought of giving you few mock Infosys online tests. We thought of giving you 24 topical tests, 6 sectional tests, and 3 Infosys specific mock tests. So you've got a huge package with a lot of highlights and valuable insights from our FACE experts, right? All this for rupees of 2,999. But because you guys have come for this particular webinar, we are giving you a coupon which is INFYWEB, INFYWEB, to get a 50% off. After discount, the course price is going to be rupees 1,499. Right? If you get this, I'm pretty sure that you will enjoy the Infosys classes, and you will be ready to take up any pattern which is going to be asked in Infosys. And there will be a lot of mock tests, as I told you, 24 topical tests, 6 sectional tests which will be given to you, and 3 specific Infosys mock tests which is also inclusive. And our FACE experts will be there with you to completely help you and guide you to crack this particular exam, right? So hope you guys would have gone through the entire details of the webinar. So the registration link is also given, www.faceprep.in. If you can go there, and our banner is there, the first banner, you can actually take up and register the course. Please make sure that, guys, the coupon, the offer ends at 12. The coupon will not be valid after tonight 12 o'clock. This is a good offer. Please make use of this. A lot of people have got into marathon already. So if you can take up this, it is definitely going to be very helpful for you guys. So if there is any more doubts or clarification, you can definitely get in touch with our support team. Contact number and our website is also available, right? I'm pretty sure that the 1.5 hours which you guys have spent with us is definitely going to be very useful to crack Infosys. And I strongly suggest people to take up the marathon, so that you will definitely get benefited by all the things which I told you, right? So join the webinar and get the best training program, guys. We will provide you with all the insights which is set in the right direction to crack our exam, right? So also for more videos, please subscribe our FACE Prep channel. You will get videos there, and as well as if you like this particular video session, you can like us, right? Thank you guys, and all the best for your Infosys exam. See you soon in the marathon. Thank you guys.